Getting what you want out of life begins with realizing that you are living your last life ever. Hi, I'm Keith Weinhold with Get Rich Education. Most people live small, safe lives where they never realize their potential or have an outsized impact on others. And we can think of that small life as being signified by this zone where they have 100% safety and security, and they really don't fulfill that potential. However, if you do want to achieve more in life and have a more outsized impact and still surround yourself with the happiness and the freedom that you want to, you need to begin going out on a limb. Growth happens outside your comfort zone, so you might need to evolve out here into something where you only have 80% certainty now that you're going to be able to achieve whatever you want to achieve. And maybe these things in getting from the comfort zone out into a zone of more risk, they could be things like, don't you think you have a book inside you somewhere, such as you could be that author? Have you ever wanted to start a business? I talk about investing a lot. Do you want to add properties to your portfolio or just buy your first rental property out of state? Or do you want to move to New York City or Nashville to become a musician? See, you're increasing your risk of failure, but you're beginning to try and realize your potential such that you might soon get out here in a zone where you only have 50% certainty. And it might not always need to be about you either to get out here. Maybe you want to have the financial wherewithal to tithe to your church, or to not only attend all of your daughter's basketball games, but actually be the coach. So when we talk about the mindset of you expanding your comfort zone, I think that Mark Twain has some input here. One of Mark Twain's lesser known quotes is, "Go out on a limb. That's where the fruit is." That's a piece of fruit. Really, a famous business philosopher once said that people experience one of two pains in life. Either the pain of discipline, which exists out here, or the other pain is a heavier pain to carry. That is the pain of regret. You either experience the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. See, out here you don't have any regrets because you did try. You did go out on that limb. And most people, when you talk to older people in nursing homes or whatever, they'll often tell you that they would have rather had a life of oh wells than a life of what ifs. You become your expectations, really. If you don't have an expectation for yourself, you're not going to achieve it. And it really comes down to, I think, living a life that's largely unconventional and escaping normalcy. Look at the life of those that have had an outsized impact, like John D. Rockefeller, or Thomas Edison, or Sara Blakely, inventors that took risks. So it's really about stepping outside that box. And think about it. When you go out on that limb, would a recession stop you? Did Thomas Edison say he couldn't invent the light bulb because he was in a rising interest rate environment? So a lot of these larger economic factors don't affect you when your belief is big enough. When you realize that you are living your last life ever, that is a substantial motivator toward getting what you want. Regardless of your religious persuasion, most of the time, you could still say, at least here on this earth, you are living your last life ever. So hopefully this helped you increase your motivation toward getting what you want, realizing that you do have to go out on a limb. And I wouldn't ask anyone to consider doing anything I hadn't done myself. I don't think I've had the outsized impact yet that any of those inventors and visionaries did. But more than 15 years ago, I moved from Pennsylvania to Alaska, something that was deemed as strange outside the box. That's something that I dreamed of doing. I made my first ever property of any kind in my life that I purchased a fourplex building where I lived in one unit and rented out the other three. In 2014, I launched the Get Rich Education podcast from my dining room table. All these things were deemed as unusual, but in each case, that's what it took. That realization that this is my last life ever, and this is your last life ever. I hope that helps you get what you want. I'm Keith Weinhold. You can hear me talk weekly about real estate investing, mindset, and economics on the Get Rich Education podcast. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Since 2014, the powerful Get Rich Education podcast has created more passive income for people than nearly any other show in the world. This show teaches you how to earn strong returns from passive real estate investing in the best markets without losing your time being a flipper or landlord. Show host Keith Weinhold writes for Forbes and delivers a new show every week. Since 2014, there's been millions of listener downloads in 188 world nations. He has A-list show guests include top-selling personal finance author Robert Kiyosaki. Get Rich Education can be heard on every podcast platform, plus it has its own dedicated Apple and Android listener phone apps. Build wealth on the go with the Get Rich Education podcast. Sign up now for the Get Rich Education podcast or visit GetRichEducation.com.